David here with Figboot on Pens, back again with another fountain pen review. It has been quite some time since I have reviewed a pen from Retro 51. It's been around 5 years. So when the good folks at Goldspot Pens reached out to see if I was interested in taking a look at a new retailer exclusive model of theirs, I agreed. It was time to take a look at Retro 51 again. Retro 51 is based out of Richardson, Texas, which is just outside of Dallas. The number 51 in the company refers to the year the founder of the company, George Kartosis, was born. A couple of years ago, there was talk of the company closing down as the original management retired. But to the pleasure of many, the company was sold to new management who have kept Retro 51 going strong. The majority of Retro 51 offerings are unique custom roller balls. I do own a few of them. I carry this Joey Feldman model with me every day in the pop-off leather cover for my Hobonichi. The tapered design really makes it easy to insert into a well-worn elastic pen loop. This pen actually glows in the dark as well. Now, I don't find myself often needing to write in the dark, but it was still a cool feature of this particular limited edition. But Retro 51 also makes fountain pens. The model is called the Tornado, and the specific pen we'll be looking at today is called the Coffee House. What I'm going to do today is go over the parts and features of this caffeinated offering, talk about what I care for and what I don't care for about it. I'll show some measurements, size comparisons, and provide a writing sample with an ink exclusive to Goldspot Pens as well. The pen arrives in this distinct tube. Retro 51 has always done a really great job with their packaging for their pens, incorporating a custom label for each model. Over the years, they've produced a ton of different designs. My guess is probably in the thousands. If you have an interest or a hobby, chances are there is a Retro 51 product at some point in time which has that theme. And the theme to this pen is coffee houses. To be specific, a coffee house chalkboard. And here is the pen. Inside the tube, we have a couple of things. There is a use and care guide, which they actually mention one of the company mottos, which is, "Life is too short to carry an ugly pen." And isn't that the truth? And also included is a converter, as well as a couple of cartridges, which they store inside the pen. Then we have the pen. This is the Retro 51 Tornado Coffee House. The pen is made from metal, and the black and white motif draws its inspiration from the creative chalkboards that you see at local coffee houses. I like that this is a coffee-themed pen that isn't brown. This artwork was designed by Tracy Marcioli, who has created the artwork for a number of Goldspot pens. A couple of Retro 51s. There was the Fright Night, as well as the April Showers. And then there was even an Opus 88 Mini Baby Beluga. And there were others as well. I think this art does a good job of capturing the feeling and essence of those coffee house chalkboards with various coffee cups and carafes, and plenty of beans scattered throughout. This artwork is rather busy. For me, it takes a second to understand the theme of the pen. You see it at an arm's distance, and I think it looks interesting, but I really don't understand the theme of it until you kind of get a close-up look. Well, let's take that close-up look right now, beginning with the top of the cap. Tornadoes typically have a themed finial artwork, and this model is no exception. Here we have a steaming cup of coffee. As for the rest of the finial, it begins with this raised knurled portion. It then transitions into a band, which contains the name of the company, as well as the limited edition number of this pen. This is a limited edition of 250 units. I kind of like how the company branding is black on black, so it's a bit hidden, but the limited edition number looks nice filled in with gold like that, which really helps the numbers pop. Next, we have the standard Retro 51 clip. It does start out a bit stiff, but in my experience, the clip becomes a little bit more flexible as time goes on and sustains a little bit more use. The cap angles up very slightly before straightening out for the last final inch or so. At the end of the cap, there is a smaller band and a small step down to the barrel. The barrel is straight for about another inch before tapering down to the end, which is flat. The cap twists off in just under 2 rotations, and underneath we have a stainless steel No. 6 Jowo nib. This one is coated black, which matches well with the overall aesthetics of this pen. The nib is available in extra fine, fine, medium, as well as a 1.1 stub. And here's a look at the accompanying plastic feed. The section begins with a mild flare before angling up to the metal threads and a stair-step rise to the remainder of the barrel. Through a little use, I have noticed one portion of the black plating to be worn a bit. I'm unsure if over time some more of that plating will wear off or if that was just a small manufacturing flub. Even though this section is metal, I don't find it to be slick. I don't find the metal threads to be sharp either. For a metal pen, it is fairly light and long enough to use unposted. The cap does post deeply and securely, and even though I do feel the cap back weights the pen slightly, I actually prefer the additional weight and have found myself mainly using this pen posted. This is a cartridge converter pen. I do find these section threads are a bit squeaky, as you can hear here. Inside the pen, it did come with 2 standard international short cartridges, and as you saw up top, a converter is also provided. With the metal of this pen, eyedropping would not be recommended. As you listen to that squeak, again, I guess you could always put a little grease on there. The Retro 51 Tornado Coffee House is available exclusively through Goldspot Pens and retails for $119, which is a fairly common price point for their limited edition fountain pens. And not bad for that price, especially if you associate strongly with the theme of this pen. Okay, now it is time for some measurements, size comparisons, and a writing sample. So here we have the Retro 51 Coffee House. I want to give you another close-up look at that rather busy design there that I think basically reflects a coffee house blackboard well. And in regard to some size comparisons, this is what it looks like with another Retro 51 fountain pen that I have, which is the P51 Mustang. So it's basically essentially the very same pen, but just a different design. Then here it is with a Faber-Castell Loom. And then here it is with an Opus 88 demonstrator. And then in regard to a couple of other pens, here it is with a Narwhal Navigator. And then here it is with a Lamy Safari. And then finally, here it is with a TWSBI VAC 700 Iris. In regard to some uncapped comparisons, here it is with the Loom, as well as the Safari. And then here it is with the Narwhal. And here we go with the writing sample for the Retro 51. And this is the Tornado Coffee House. And I mentioned the ink was going to be one that's also exclusively available through Goldspot Pens, which is a Wearingeul, and it's called Call of the Cthulhu. Which is named after the book of the same name. This is what the ink looks like. You could see that it's a nice dark green with some nice red and darker sheen to it. It kind of reminds me a lot of Private Reserve Cadillac green, but a little bit deeper. And then this is what it looks like with Tassia Saba Midori, which is one of my favorite inks right now. And then also here it is with Robert Oster River of Fire. This is what the bottle looks like. Wearing Gold makes some nice inks. And this one, like I said, the Call of the Cthulhu is basically named after the H.P. Lovecraft book. And this is, as I mentioned, an exclusive of Goldspot pens that you could find on their site. And I do like this ink. I think it looks really nice coming out of this pen, as well as a couple of others that I've used. And here we go with the rest of the writing sample. I forgot to mention that this is a medium stainless steel nib. I find this nib to be serviceable. I can't say that it's fantastic or amazing, but it gets the job done. And that it has a little bit of feedback to it. You're not going to get a lot of line variation out of it, but the ink flow is fairly decent on here. In regard to reverse writing, it does lay down an extra fine line. And in regard to some fast writing, it does perform nicely. So there we have the Retro 51 Tornado Coffee House. I think Retro 51 has really, over the years, built up a great niche for themselves in regard to creating some very unique pens for their own collection, as well as limited editions. I've often thought of potentially doing a collaboration with them. If for some reason I did do a collaboration, what would you like to see as a theme on a Figboot Tornado Retro 51? It's something that I have considered, and who knows, maybe in the future I will do. So until next time, well, actually, I will also put a link to where you could find this pen on the Goldspot Pens site in the notes below. So until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.